Hi, welcome to Unit 5. And in Unit 5, we're learning about algebraic expressions. So let's go ahead and open up our notes. Here we go. So this is the note sheet you should be on, algebraic expressions. And it is lesson 5.1, algebraic expressions. So our first lesson is learning about the parts of an algebraic expression. And we call this an expression, not an equation. Okay, it's an expression because there is no equal sign. You notice it says 3s plus 4, but it does not say equals. So this is just an expression. If it had an equal sign, then it would be an equation. Think of the word equal, EQU, and the word equation starts with EQU. Okay, so this is just an expression. So the first thing we have is 3s. So in this expression, we call the 3, you're going to have to write small to fit this word, it's a big word, the coefficient. Okay, and the letter, the S, is called the variable. Now the variables don't have to be S. It could be an X, it could be a Y, it could be an N. The variable is the letter, okay? It does not have to be S, it could be other letters, but in this expression, the S, it's an S, and that's your variable, okay? So whatever the letter is, that's your variable. And then we have plus 4. So that 4 that's out there all by itself is called the constant. It's going to stay the same. It's going to stay a 4. So let's talk about those 3 for a minute. The coefficient. So up here where it says number 1, we're going to write what the coefficient is. The coefficient is, and again, we want to write small, the number stuck to a variable. Okay, it is only the number. It's not the variable, okay? So the coefficient is the 3. The coefficient is not 3s, it is not 4. The coefficient is the 3 because the 3 is stuck to the letter S, okay? The second vocabulary word we have is variable. The variable is a letter, it's always going to be a letter. In this case, it's S. And that letter represents a number. So it's a letter that represents or stands for a number. Okay? And then the constant is a number all by itself. Okay, so then we've got 4 and 5, which we haven't done yet. So you'll notice, let's trace over this little bracket right here. 3s together, those two things together are called a term. And this constant over here, this 4, is also called a term. So the 4 is a constant, but it's also a term in this expression. And the 3s, the 3 is a coefficient, the s is a variable, but together the 3s is a term in this expression. And the entire thing all together, we call this whole thing the algebraic expression, just like it says at the top. Okay, so what is a term? Let's go to number 4. A term is a group of numbers and or variables, because we can't forget the variable s is in there. A group of numbers and or variables that are separated by a plus sign. Okay, so in this equation, they're separated, in this expression, they're separated by a plus sign. All right, number 5. What is an algebraic expression? It is an expression with numbers and variables but no equal sign. Okay, an expression has numbers, it has variables, but it does not have an equal sign. That's what makes it an expression. So let's go ahead and let's look at some examples here. All right, the first expression I see is a 2x plus 5. So let's identify the parts of this expression, 2x plus 5. So I see my variable is x. Okay, so it says variable or variables, because sometimes there's more than one letter. Sometimes there may be two, but in this case, the variable is x. The number that's connected to the x, the 2, is the coefficient. So the coefficient is just the number 2. And then the constant is what's by itself, so it would be the number 5. So then in this expression, we have two terms. We've got the term 2x, and we've got the term 5. So we're going to write both of those down, 2x and 5. Okay, let's take a look at b. Okay, for b, the expression says 3m minus 6t. Okay, so let's go ahead. This minus negative sign goes with the term. Okay, so 3m minus 6t. So I have two terms again. Here's one term, here's the other term. So it's 3m and minus 6t. Okay, that's the whole term. I didn't put the plus over here on a because when a number's positive, we don't have to write the positive sign. Okay, so now let's look at that. I know my variables. I have two variables this time. I've got an m and I've got a t. So what letter is with the m? It's a 3. So that's my coefficient. What letter is with the t? It's a negative 6. So that's my other coefficient, negative 6. And what is the constant? There is no constant, so I'm going to write none. This one has no constant because there's no number all by itself. Oh, hold on, let me turn off my alarm. All right, I'm back. Okay, C, here we go. 10 minus 2a plus 3. Okay, so this time I have one variable. It's the letter a. And I have 3 terms. I've got the term of 10. I've got the term of negative 2a. And I've got the term of 3. So let's write that down. 10, negative 2a, and positive 3. Okay, so now I look where the a is, the variable, and what number is connected to that variable? Negative 2. That's my coefficient. Negative 2 is the coefficient. And in this one, we do have not only one constant, we have two constants because the 3 is all by itself, but the 10 is also all by itself. So 3 and 10 are both constants. Okay? D, negative 8 plus 4n minus 7. Okay, so the variable is an n. The number connected to the variable is a 4, so that's my coefficient. My constants, I have two of them again. I have a -8 and I have a -7. So how many terms do I have altogether? I've got -8, +4n, and -7. I have 3 terms. -8, 4n, -7. Okay? All right, so that's more about the vocabulary and algebraic expressions. So let's take a look at example 2. Example 2 is going to give us little word problems, word stories, okay? And we have to write the algebraic expression that represents that story. So we're going to write the phrase that's given to us as an expression. So it's not really a story, it's a phrase. So let's look at the first one, A. 5 less than a number K. Let's highlight that. Okay, 5 less than a number K. All right, so when you see the term less than, let's write this down. Let's put an arrow out here. When you see less than, you're going to flip it, okay? What do I mean by that? Instead of writing 5 minus K, the expression that matches it is K minus 5. So 5 less than a number K, we don't know what the number is, we're going to use K instead of the number. That's what that means. 5 less than some number, we don't know what the number is, so we're using K. I don't write 5 minus K because 5 is less than K, so the K goes in the front. I flip it when I see the term less than. So K minus 5. B, the quotient. Okay, so quotient is the key word here. All right, let me get my highlighter. All right, so you have this word on your vocabulary card. I'll pull that up in a minute, but for right now, quotient is the answer you get when you divide something. So the quotient of 6 and x, we would go ahead and we would write 6 divided by x, or you could write it 6 slash x, because we know that that means divide by. When we have that fraction line, it means divide by, okay? So 6 divided by x. Quotient means division. The next one we have, let's get my highlighter again. We'll go back to yellow. The word I see here is product. The product of a number m and -7. Well, if you look on your vocabulary card, the product is a multiplication word. Okay, so when I see the product, it means I'm going to be multiplying. The product of a number m and 7. So for right here, when we are putting a coefficient together with a variable, the number, the coefficient, always goes first. All right, so the number goes first. The number always goes in front of the variable. Because for this one, you would think we would put m times 7, but we're not. We actually put, and it's -7. So we need to put -7m. That means -7 times m. Or we could write it like this, -7 times m. Okay, or we could write it like this, -7 times m. Because I know when I have something in parentheses right next to a number, it means multiply. Okay, next one we have, D. The word I'm seeing here is double. When I see the word double, double the number x, so we don't know what the number is, they're using the letter x, then subtract 5. So if I see the word double, it means times 2. whenever you double something, whoops, that's supposed to be a 2. You're timesing it by 2, okay? So double the number x, so that means I'm multiplying x by 2, and the number always goes in front of the variable, so 2x, then subtract negative -5, okay? All right, I believe that's the last one there. Okay, so that is all about algebraic expressions. So, hold on. All right. I want to go down to that vocabulary paper I was talking about right here. Okay, so let's go over to your vocabulary paper. Okay, and let's grab a highlighter and let's highlight some words we're going to see frequently. Okay, so the one we saw today for multiplication was product. Whoops. It's not my highlighter. Product. Okay, double we saw. That means we multiply by 2. Dot 2 means multiply by 2. Triple means multiply by 3. If you see the word half of, it means if you're finding half of something, you're dividing by 2, okay? But if it says twice, that means you're multiplying by 2. And of course, area is base times height, okay? So that's multiplication, all right? All right, so another one we saw today was in division. The word quotient means to divide, okay? And here, you may be wondering, why did I put divide by 2 up under the multiplication symbol? Well, you see that it's written a different way. 1/2 times is the same as dividing by 2. So down here, it says half of. So if we have half of, we're dividing by 2, okay? All right, and so some of these others will come up, like in subtraction, we have difference. That one's gonna come up a lot. Anytime something is taken away, it's fewer, it's decreased, deducted, okay? A loss, shorter, taller, longer, okay? How much more? All of those things are gonna be subtraction, okay? And addition, there's terms up here I'm sure you're familiar with. Add, sum means addition. Now you may have forgot that one, okay? Increased means addition. More, altogether, plus, total, combined. Perimeter means addition, okay? So this vocabulary paper is going to come in very handy when you're looking at your problems. All right, let's go to our formative. Okay. All right, let's take a look at some of the questions. So you can see question 1. You're going to be identifying terms, coefficients, and constants in the expression. You're going to be dragging and dropping. It's not going to let you know if you are correct until you submit. Once you submit, it will show you which ones are wrong, and you can redo. You have 3 chances to redo it. Okay, 2 is the same. 3, 4. Oops, notice on 3 we've got 5c squared. Okay, so the c, the variable, is squared on that one, okay? And I have another variable right there as well. So 2 variables in that expression. All right, 4 is the same, 5, 6. Okay, here's a little direction. For each question, write the phrase as an algebraic expression. So number 6, 13 subtracted from a number x. So when I see subtracted from, I'm also going to be flipping it, okay? So remember when we saw the term less than? Well, when I see the term subtracted from, I'm also going to be flipping it. Okay, very important. 5 times a number D. Just a regular number sentence. 5 times D. We don't know what the number is. It's D. The quotient of 18, and we learned about the word quotient. Look back on your vocabulary card or look back at your notes to see what that means. 18 and some number, which we don't know what the number is, we're just going to call it A. Okay, when I see the difference, what does that mean? What am I going to be doing? Increased by, so you're going to write out that algebraic expression. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have you go ahead and go through this and give it a try. There's 20 questions. And remember, this one is like less than. It says subtracted from, so remember you're flipping the order for that one. Okay? All right. Good luck and have a great day.